What's up, you guys? Joe Dobby here. I am now a Deck Out Gaming affiliate. Use Joe Dobbs Deck Out at checkout. Deck Out Gaming has tons of singles for Pokemon, Dragon Ball Super, and Digimon TCG, as well as One Piece. They now buy list as well, so don't hesitate to reach out, and they got your back. Really high customer service ratings. Thank you guys, and yeah, let's get to the video. What's up, you guys? Joe Dobby here with another deck profile for you today, and this is my Minervamon Loop deck for BT11. I have had so much fun with this so far. The techs are pretty good, and I know that from Mario's BT11 proxy tournament, a lot of people have been asking about the list, so I thought I'd finally share it. I'm gonna be honest, it's not very different from the standard Minervamon list that people might have tried to experiment and build upon. I just have text here for specific cards in the meta, and I've tried to make it more consistent in terms of its ability to play. So I've had a few changes since then, so I just wanted to dive into the most updated version of the deck. So first things first, we're gonna go with the eggs. It's Minervamon here, just to draw one, trash one, on delete, just see more pieces. We already know. Ignitemon is a new card, so we will go over it. It is a Crossheart Reptile Man, and 4 costs to play. You're probably not going to try and do that, but when attacking, delete one of your other Digimon, or by deleting one of your other Digimon, delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon of equal or lower level. So you could potentially delete Minervamon that's level 6 after she's already swung, to delete one of your opponent's unsuspended level 6, which we love. We're going to dive into a few of the combos with Ignitemon and just the whole deck in general towards the end of the video as well, so stay tuned. Next, we've got 4 copies of Gabu, which is awesome. On deletion, draw 2, trash 1. And 1 copy of Gazi, Memory Blocker. 2 copies of Psychmon, reduce play cost blocker. So this is interchangeable. You can run 2 Gazi, 1 Psych, 1 Gazi, 2 Psych, depending on your meta or what you anticipate to be, the meta to be. But the last rookie is the Digimon with Retaliation. This is one of the techs that I've chosen just to add more consistency to what I'm able to play with Minervamon. At times, this Devi has come in pretty clutch, so we do love that. At the end of the video, again, we will go over some situations where you can play Digimon. Next, 4 copies of Dark Rizamon. It's a pretty good card. It's basically an on deletion, draw 1, trash 1, which is very similar to Scatter, with the except you're not drawing 3 and trashing 2, right? However, it's got Retaliation, which is pretty awesome, and it just facilitates more draw power. You get to see more pieces, and once it's in trash, Minervamon actually uses it in full effect, so it's super important. 4 copies of Scatter Mode here. So it's a draw 3, trash 2 on deletion, as I've mentioned earlier. It's 4 costs, so do not hesitate to hard play it if you gotta, just to start your turn, because people will likely stay in Raising and Digivolve, or be forced to play a Memory Tamer and put you back at least 3, which is awesome. 1 copy of the Eismon. This is just a turbo up into the Cerberusmons, but that's it. Like, more often than not, you can even stay in Raising. That's the beauty about this deck, is you can pretty much stay in Raising, try to find draws, and do other things. But Eismon does get me game sometimes. 1 copy of Dark Tyrannomon. So this is another tech that I've added. Used to play 2 to 3 and experiment with that. I'm finding now that I need more things that I want to trash versus that will benefit me later. So Dark Tyrannomon is a very specific tech for me. Once I see it in my hand, I hold on to it and I don't let go, apart from specific situations, and we'll talk about that later. But on deletion, inheritable, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, which is very, very good, especially in a meta where blockers exist. 4 copies of Cerberusmon, on deletion, draw 2, trash 1, pairs well, obviously, with the werewolf mode, so you can on play delete werewolf mode, use Cerberusmon's on play effect, werewolf, to delete the Cerberus and gain 9 memory, and then you end up with a draw 2, trash 1, and then you end up with a 9k DP Digimon with Rush. Now the reason why I'm running 4 of Cerberus, even though you can kind of get away with 3 and play 1 Lucemon, is because I've cut Ultimate Sacrifice, aka Dead or Alive, from the deck. And the 9k DP and consistency is something that I'm really looking forward to just taking full advantage of. I'm trying to make the deck super, super consistent just so I can pull things off sooner, because that's kind of what you want to do now. 4 copies of Minervamon. So it's got Retaliation. Opponent's turn. When an opponent plays a Digimon, you may play 1 purple level 4 or lower Digimon from your trash without paying its memory costs. On play effects, don't trigger. So this is a good way to return a lot of things. You can return Ignite, you can return basically any level 4 or lower. You can start playing them when your opponent starts playing things, and that can be pretty good. So it's just a good way to bridge out. One of the things you can do too is potentially cut a Dark Rizamon to add a Vilemon, just so you get that extra blocker, but generally you're gonna be fine. You're not really gonna be taking full advantage of that effect. What you are taking advantage of in the loop deck is its on deletion effect. So if your opponent has 2 or fewer Digimon in play, you may be playing 1 purple level 5 or lower Digimon card or 1 Minervamon from trash without paying its cost. The beauty about this is you don't need to have a certain number of cards in trash. You could have exactly Cerberusmon Werewolf Mode, and Minervamon, and depending on how many Minervamon, well, these 3 cards in trash, and then depending on how many Minervamon and Revive from Darkness you have in your hand, you can do this all day with just those 3 cards. Ideally though, when you play Merva, you gotta have the Dark Riza, the Demi Devi, and an Ignite in trash. That way you can actually play things and gain full advantage. But we'll go over the loop and how it works towards the end of the video once again. New card for BT11 is the Minervamon. It can Digicross, which is awesome. So when you are free played by the Minervamon, you can still Digicross and slip Ignitemon underneath. The best part is you can use Digicross targets from trash. So that is super, super cool, right? Because you're not going to get the cost reduction because it's just going to come out for free. However, you can get its Digicrossing effect, which is basically its on play and when Digivolving effect times 2. So instead of playing 1 purple level 4 lower Digimon card with or 1 purple level 4 lower Digimon card that is Crossheart, you can play 2, which is awesome. All turns, all of your Digimon with Retaliation or with Crossheart in its traits gain Rush and Blocker. Now that is something super awesome because this is what is going to finish your game for you. Essentially, you want to keep looping with the Minervamon, keep chipping away with the scatter modes, with the werewolf modes, until your opponent is at 2 to 3 security, or even 2 security, which is the threshold for lethal, because Minervamon with the Digicross plays 3 Digimon, and without any blockers you could swing 3 into 2 and swing for game. 1 copy of Death X-Mon at the 15k DP, which is awesome, and this is basically to counter Crossheart, to counter Beelstar sometimes, to counter anything that plays tons of Tamers, and sometimes when your opponents are looking for pieces, they are desperately playing Searchers, they are taking time playing their cool boys, their Tamers, and then you just punish them with Death X. I've actually won a game against Black War Greymon X by slamming Death X because my opponent ran out of cards in their deck. So when I gave them so much memory the previous turn, because I think I Chaos Degraded something, this is my Mass A deck, to end turn because he didn't want to deck out, he dropped like 4 rookies, and then that was his Death X GG. So that was really good. It's always good to have in purple. 1 copy of Back for Revenge here. So on deletion, well, one of your Digimon gains on deletion, you may play this Digimon without paying its memory cost. On play effects don't trigger, but you only really need this on Minervamon, and Minervamon's winning effect is on deletion. So that's beautiful, because then you can trigger her on deletion effect first before the on deletion effect gained from Back for Revenge, which is to play her, which is awesome. It's 2 cost, which is why Jack Raid, Matt, and Analog Youth all play a very important role. That said, you're almost always going to be able to pull this off, so don't even worry about it. 2 copies of Jack Raid. I used to run 3. That said, 2 has been fine because you end up trashing 1 or 2 of them through analog anyway, and you only need this really in security or in your hand. And you know, it's never been a big deal. Like I'm trying to add more trash targets from youth, so I reduced my Jack Raids so I don't feel bad when I trash it from youth, because the trashing them from analog youth is less likely at 2. I'm more likely to draw into them versus trash them from these 3 cards, which is why I hold on to them at 2. Revive from Darkness. So delete one of your opponent's purple Digimon. Oh, delete one of your own purple Digimon. Sorry about that. Then you may play 1 level 5 or lower purple Digimon card from your trash without paying its memory costs. On play effects on Digimon played with this effect don't activate. So it's 4 cost. It's very expensive. That said, if you have Cerberusmon Werewolf Mode, and Minervamon, and the Cerberus and Werewolf mode are either in the Minervamon stack or in trash, you can use Revive from Darkness, pay the 4, and then the sequence would be you would use Revive from Darkness to delete Minervamon. Revive from Darkness would play this Cerberusmon, and then Minervamon, if your opponent has 2 or fewer Digimon in play, will play Cerberusmon Werewolf mode, and Minervamon does trigger on play effects, so you will trigger the Werewolf mode to gain 9 memory by deleting the Cerberusmon that you played from Revive from Darkness. So ultimately, it is not a pay 4, it is a gain 5 combo. In addition to that, you will also have gained more memory pending however many analog youths are on the board. You would have also hatched an egg as a result, which is a very huge, powerful momentum swing. Usually if you get your opponent to 2 to 3 security and you're able to pull this off twice, you usually have game there, which is awesome. That said, Cerberusmon, biggest thing, you got to know when you think it is smart to swing. So most decks now run 5 to 7 level 6s, which is pretty much, apart from option cards, what you have to worry about when Werewolf mode swings. So depending on the matchup, you could free willy swing, and depending on what your opponent has in trash, depending on what you've seen get bottom decked, etc., Cerberusmon might have to not swing in order for you to loop again and bring out Minervamon. Because if the Cerberus dies, you're sad. Next, 1 copy of Calling from Darkness. So return 2 Digimon from trash to hand by deleting one of your own Digimon. It's a 1 cost, which is great because it can trigger at 1 memory. You can go to 0, deleting a Minervamon, bring pieces that you need, and then play Minervamon for that cost, which is amazing. Because then you can bring out 3 hits basically, because it'll come out from free off the Minervamon. And you get Rush, and all your Retaliation Digimon and Crossheart Digimon gain Rush and blockers, so that's just dubs. Deathclaw, I kind of want to run 2 Deathclaw here, just for Floodgates, but you have Ignitemons for that. One thing you can do is cut 1 Ignitemon, go down to 3, and play a second Deathclaw. That said, Ignitemon does its job fairly well, so there's no worries on that. You may delete one of your Digimon to delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon, so very good. This is especially good in Grandis because Grandis, ideally, if they haven't done any chip damage and you're at 5 security, Grandis will actually need another body to swing for game, because it doesn't, unless they have 5 checks and survive all 5 checks, don't pass turn on all 5 checks, which is usually not the case. At most, I think I've seen Grandis Kuagamon swing for 3 checks, unsuspend, swing for the remaining 2, and they need a body to swing for game. So Deathclaw does come clutch from security in that regard sometimes, especially when they try to raise with a Mimi or whatever, or they have a Memory Tamer like a Terriermon, or if Bloomlord has a Pamu, it comes in clutch. 1 copy of the Tamer Matt Ishida, Memory Tamer, very good, and you can return a purple option from trash to hand. So sometimes if you're at awkward amounts of memory, you might want to drop Matt, wait a turn, and then use this 1 cost option versus the Revive to kill Minerva and lethal with Merva. So very good. Analog Youth, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon among them to from trash to hand, trash the remaining cards. This is why I run less Jack Raid and more Dark Rizamon, because you can see Dark Rizamon in trash quicker. Analog Youth also fills your trash significantly quicker, so generally all you really need to see is 1 Jack Raid before your opponent is able to even do anything, and then you can basically enable tons of plays and win the game. Also, all turns when one of your level 5 or higher Digimon is deleted and it's got Digivolution sources, you can suspend Analog Youth to gain a memory per Analog Youth and hatch an egg. Yes, okay, so main combos of this deck. Ultimately, it is Minervamon, Cerberusmon Werewolf, Cerberus, and Revive from Darkness. You want to hold on to your Minervamons. If you look at my ratios at the very top here, you're seeing 37 Digimon. That is really out of a desire to be consistent. Honestly, you can probably get away with 11 rookies. You can dip Ignitemon to 3 and add a Deathclaw, but I just want to see a rookie, and I run 10 level 4s because I want to see a scatter. Once you open with a scatter or a Dark Rizamon, you are likely in a very good spot as it is, so I wouldn't worry about it, because you'll be able to start filling your trash and drawing significantly faster than your opponent. That said, you still have to see these pieces. Some words of advice and how to use certain texts that I have for the deck. Turn 1, if you open with Ignitemon and Scatter mode and you are going first, I would actually prefer you pass your opponent to 4 depending on the matchup, and leaving Ignite in Raising and hard dropping Scatter Mode. 2 reasons why. If your opponent plays a Memory Setter and hard drops their Searcher Rookie, Scatter Mode can swing. Depending on the deck, Scatter Mode might survive, and that Ignitemon can delete the Scatter to delete an unsuspended Searcher. And you'll be able to trigger all the draws. At that point, you would have had already a 2 checks in, and you would have seen, You would have seen like 5-6 cards by then, which is awesome. It sets you up for a full Minerva stack potentially on your next turn, and all you need at that point is Revive from Darkness to chip, and then Minerva game, which is super, super quick. I have turn forward a Black War Grey X just drawing the nuts, so it is possible. It's less likely versus Metal Garurumon, but it is possible. Typically though, you can also just Digivolve and just trigger everything in one shot. The reason why I play Devimon, specific matchups that delete the lowest level Digimon, you'd rather just slam him. Also at 3 memory, sometimes if you just can't get lethal for whatever reason and you find yourself at low amounts of memory, but you do have Minervamon and 2 Dark Rizamon out, you can slam the Devimon, especially so in the Grandis matchup, to have 3 blockers with Retaliation. Against Grandis, you want 3 blockers with Retaliation. So as long as you can puzzle your way out to play that way, you should be fine. Sometimes you can even put your opponent to insane amounts of memory and get away with it as long as you have 3 blockers on the board against Grandis Kuwagamon. But yeah, Devimon allows me to just slam it without paying excessive amounts of memory. Dark Tyrannomon, specific functions. Specific function number 1, to suspend major blockers. Black War Grey X can be a blocker. Metal Garurumon X can be a blocker. What else? Ballistamon is a blocker. You know, Examon can block. There are a lot of reasons why you want this guy. Used to run it at 2, used to run it at 3, now I run it at 1. Only reason why is because I'm less likely to trash it with Analog. If I trash it with Analog, it is what it is. It's not my win condition. What it does help me with, though, is enable me to do things I wouldn't normally do. Like if my opponent has a Metal Garurumon X out and I raise, do the whole Serb combo, and that Metal Garurumon X is a blocker, if I don't have the Dark Tyrannomon, my Cerberus can't swing without being blocked, and then I lose my bridge. Or I lose that extra swing, which would have gotten me lethal. That said, if this Dark Tyrannomon was under the regular Cerberusmon, before Werewolf mode can swing, I can at least suspend that Metal Garurumon X, I can suspend that blocker, whatever. And then go into Minerva after and proceed to combo, right? So, very good card. I don't run Promote because there's no need. The only benefit I've actually had with Promote is for the times where like I'm anticipating that my opponent is gonna get into the Metal Greymon that Digivolve won. So over the scatter mode, I will go into the promote, so I'm back into a scatter mode, and then I can just proceed to draw and trash everything I need. But other than that, your game pieces are Cerberusmon, Minervamon, and any of these Digimon with Retaliation. In addition to that, because you're comboing off and gaining like 5 memory, sometimes if you go to 5 and then you end up at like 9 if you do the combo twice, right? And because of that, you could technically just play 2 Revive from Darknesses if your Cerberusmon keeps dying, and then just bring it out. Because Revive from Darkness doesn't actually need to delete one of your purple Digimon to bring out a level 5. So at that point, you could just bring this guy out if you've got enough memory and swing for game. Or you can play one of these options here and bring out Minervamon and swing for game. Or on the second loop, so the first loop, if you are at 0 memory, you're gonna end up at 5, right? Mathematically. Assuming no analog use or you've used them already. The second Minervamon will go to 2 memory. The Revive from Darkness will go to 2 on your opponent's side, and then you do the whole combo again, you end up at 7. Now at 7, you still have a Cerberusmon Werewolf mode, and this is where you can actually just hard play Minervamon, because Minervamon will be an 8 to cross, and Ignitemon as an inheritable will gain a memory when you play a Digimon by an effect once per turn. So now that you are at 7, off the second Revive Minerva combo, you have a Cerberus that can swing, you have a Minerva with 2 other bodies, and they basically all have that's 4 swings right there, like easy 4 swings, and you're likely to have put your opponent to 2 to 3 security just swinging off with the little guys to try and draw your pieces. So that is ultimately a faster way out as well. So you have to play for that kind of play. The things that really slow you down are blockers, which is why I like Dark Tyrannomon as a one of. But yeah, that concludes the deck profile. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Peace.